Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in today. I'm Amy Davis, Director of Strategic Operations and Growth at PGC Group. Really recently, I've had lots of questions from clients about immigration, relocating staff to the US as they re-pick up their expansion plans after Biden's announcement that people can now go over to the US from the beginning of November. And so we thought that it'd be a really good time actually to just do a quick video, a quick snapshot of a conversation with myself and our special guest today. And you're going to hear a little bit more from him. We really hope that what you hear today kind of gives you some advice and guidance of the things you should be thinking about and considering when potentially relocating staff from the UK over to the US. So before we kick off, Marin, do you just want to tell us a little bit about you? And what you do, if that's okay.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and chat with you today. I'm really excited. My name is Marin Ritter. I am an immigration attorney with Green and Spiegel, which is a solely an immigration law firm. It's headquartered in Toronto with offices in Philadelphia and Cleveland and Providence, Rhode Island. And I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio. Born and raised here. I took a little bit of a break to live in England for a year. I went to the University of Durham. You can see from my, little beefier bear back here that I am an Anglophile.
Love it.
I've been practicing immigration law for 25 years and mostly business-based immigration, helping companies hire foreign nationals, helping foreign nationals get green cards and citizenship. I work with a lot of multinational corporations who transfer their personnel from abroad to the United States. And I'm really excited to have the chance to talk about some of these issues that I deal with every day.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds really exciting. I'm looking forward to kind of getting under the hood of a couple of things that have come up with our clients recently. So, but first, maybe we should just kind of take a look back because a lot has happened in the past year. And I know that's really shifted and impacted immigration and also access to doing business in the US for companies expanding. So just tell us, kind of what you've seen this past year and how that really has impacted immigration.
Well, I mean, obviously the pandemic is the conversation of the moment, and it has significantly affected immigration. As you probably all know, back in early 2020, the Trump administration closed the borders to China and Iran, and then subsequently to the UK and Ireland and the Schengen countries. And those borders remained closed until, they're still mostly closed.
Yeah.
But the Biden administration has indicated that it is going to open the borders to all of the countries and lift the restrictions as long as you are a vaccinated person. So, there's lots of other issues involved with how readily available vaccines are in a number of countries. But as far as I'm aware, in the UK, most of the vaccinations that you are getting are approved by the WHO and or the CDC. So those vaccinations, if you are vaccinated, you will be welcome to come to the US, even as a visitor, as a tourist, as well as somebody who has a business interest. A lot of the talk was about something called national interest exemptions. So if you are a business person wanting to come to the US, there were certain exceptions to the travel restrictions if you could prove that what you were doing was related to critical infrastructure in the United States.
Yeah.
And a lot of embassies were open just to issue those national interest exemptions. A lot of embassies were closed over the last year and a half, and some of them are only just starting to open up again to start to issue visas. So we're seeing really long backlogs in visa appointments that people aren't really prepared for. I think, things want to happen immediately, and that's not happening right now.
Yeah, definitely. I know certainly from the embassy in the UK, they're kind of just now scheduling appointments But as you say, there's a huge backlog. So even if someone's to apply for a visa today that requires that appointment, that, you know, we've seen typical wait times for those appointments at around 4 to 6 months. Is that still what you're seeing at the minute? And that's just the appointment, obviously, not the actual completion of the visa.
Right. That is still true. We're seeing in the embassy, the US Embassy in London, appointment availability not until March. So they're booked almost solid, with a few exceptions, from now until March or April. So it's kind of crazy.
So if anybody has got those plans for next year, they really need to start thinking about applying for visa now, I suppose.
Exactly.
Brilliant. So just to move on to more kind of thinking about some general advice and things to consider when looking at relocating staff to the US, what are some of those points that our agency clients should be thinking about if they know at some point in the future they are going to relocate people and personnel over to the US?
Well, one of the first things you should probably think about if you are planning to relocate employees or start a branch of your business in the United States is to call an immigration attorney. Simply because you need to explore whether the kinds of things you're thinking about doing are things that you can actually do under the US immigration law. US immigration law is very complex and it's very inflexible. You know, they have lots of little boxes that they like to put certain kind of people in certain kind of jobs in. And if you don't fit neatly into any of those boxes, it can be very difficult to get a visa to work in the United States. So as part of your due diligence and your planning, I do recommend that you make an immigration lawyer one of your first calls.
Yeah, perfect.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean.
The other thing to note is that it takes time. I mean, as we were just talking about, you know, we're facing significant delays in visa issuance, but even without COVID, it still takes time. You know, I often will get calls from people who say, oh, well, I want to transfer so-and-so to the United States and he needs to be here by, you know, in 2 weeks. I'll say, no.
That's not going to happen.
No, not going to happen. You know, even without all of the craziness that has been COVID and the closures and the travel restrictions, even in a totally normal world, it takes time. And so you need to be mindful of that and plan ahead and be realistic about your expectations.
Yeah, great. So think about speaking to an immigration lawyer and make sure you build time into that plan to be able to really process the visa. Great points. What are some of the most common mistakes you've seen other businesses make when approaching immigration?
Probably one of the most common mistakes is to think that you can send somebody over here on a business visitor visa. So either on a B1 visa or on the visa waiver using an ESTA, to just come and do whatever they want, you know, even if they're on the foreign payroll, but just to come over here and do what they need to do without really thinking that they might need a work visa to do what it is that they're doing. And then they get really surprised when the guy is making his 5th trip to the United States and the immigration official at the airport says, what are you doing? Are you working here? Oh yeah, I'm just working. Okay, you're out. And then they throw them out. And, you know, that's when they call me and say, oh, you know, I want to do this. Why can't I do this? Well, because you need a work visa for what you were doing. So, you know, make sure that what you're doing either needs a visa or doesn't need a visa. Before you make the plans to come over, because the consequences can be significant if you come over here without a work visa and you work.
Right, okay. So that's really interesting actually, because a lot of clients will, you know, want to go out to the US to kind of look at maybe where they're going to be located, look at some offices, and maybe interview some, you know, Americans to actually run their agency business out in the US. So for activity like that, are they able to use an ESTA if it's a one-off trip, or is it really if there's recurring trips that they may run into issues?
That kind of activity, I mean, throwing out the disclaimer that this is not legal advice, but that
Yeah.
kind of activity is generally okay on an
Hmm.
ESTA or on a business visa, because they're going to remain on the foreign payroll,
Yeah.
and they're just taking steps to start to develop business in the United States, and that kind of activity is okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Um, if you could, I suppose, give our viewers watching this kind of one golden nugget of advice, what would that be?
Probably to plan ahead and be patient.
Hmm.
As I said, even in a perfect world, it takes some time to process immigrant or non-immigrant visas.
Hmm.
And if you assume that it's all going to go very quickly, you will be disappointed and frustrated.
Yeah.
So best to plan ahead, be patient, let it take as much time as it needs to take, and call your friendly neighborhood immigration lawyer.
Yeah. Perfect. I love it. I think because in the world we live in now, we want everything instantly, don't we? So
Mm-hmm.
whether it's kind of Amazon next day delivery, or ordering fast food and having it delivered within the next 30 minutes of ordering it. Yeah, I can
Right.
definitely that it's not that way when it comes to applying for a visa. It's safe to say it's, yeah, definitely taking the longer road to get it sorted.
Yes, yes, it's a marathon, not a sprint, as they
Yeah,
say.
there you go. Love it. Marin, that was really useful. And I'm sure everybody watching this who, as I say, with Biden kind of opening up um, travel now into the US, I'm sure that what we've spoken through today will be hugely helpful to a lot of people watching this. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I hope that I can make it on going in the other direction. I have some friends in the UK and I haven't been there in a really long time and would love to come back now
Oh,
that the
yeah.
borders are reopening.
Well, when you do, we'll definitely have to meet up for a coffee.
Oh, definitely.
Thanks, Marin.
All righty. Thank you.